why do you guys believe in this?
Inshallah, okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
So we don't mind. I mean, we are.
Well, we can talk about Adal Sahaba.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the main personalities is Aisha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, right?
Yeah.
So which there is dispute about. So like personally, I find it very difficult as a person to have.
He's a very mild brother, he speaks in a very low tone. He's not like...
not like you.
Yeah, not like me, yeah.
So,
anyway, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry?
Adalat al-Sahaba.
Okay, Adal Sahaba, yeah. So the main, one of the main conflicts that I have, within Sunni Islam, is the notion that you can basically accept certain personalities that we know had hatred for the Ahulu-AlBait, alayhi salatu wasalam. So one of the main personalities that we discussed was Aisha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, right?
They had hatred towards
the Ahulu-AlBait, yeah. So
Abu Bakr.
No, his daughter.
Aisha. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, one of the main clear evidences for this is in Al-Musannaf by Abdul Razak al-San'ani. He narrates authentically, and all of the Rijal are basically from the Rijal of Bukhari and Muslim. He narrates from basically it's called the Hadith Mawquf because it doesn't have anything from the Prophet. And Abdullah ibn Abbas is basically he's basically discussing certain issues that happened after the death of the Prophet, and he mentions that one of the sons of Al-Abbas, who I don't really remember right now, and because Aisha used to mention that when the Prophet was in a weakened state, he would assist himself on top of Ali ibn Abi, on top of a man, and and on top of Al-Fadl ibn Abbas.
Yes.
And she would always say a man, rajuli. She wouldn't mention the name. And then Ibn Abbas says, أفتدري السبب الذي لم تسمي به عائشة? Did you know why Aisha would not mention his name? And then Ibn Abbas says, لأنها لم تطب له نفسا بخير, because she would not want to mention anything positive about him. She would not want any positive thing about Ali.
Okay.
So this is a clear example of a companion, openly mentioning that that Aisha has a serious problem with Ali. She doesn't like him. He dislikes him. And we know in Sahih Muslim, Ali ibn Abi Talib also authentically says, لقد عهد إلي النبي الأمي أنه لا يحبني إلا مؤمن ولا يبغضني إلا منافق.
One report at a time. Aisha radiallahu anha. Firstly, you using this report, you claim that she hated the Ahlul-Bayt. That's a big claim,
Okay,
you cannot. First of all, there are things you have to.
Can I specify my claim?
Yeah.
She hated Ali.
Okay. So now you're reducing your claim.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Reduce your claim. Come down to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Okay. So it's not the Ahlul-Bayt anymore. It's only Ali ibn Abi Talib. So it's not Hassan, Hussein, Fatima, because we have so many reports where Aisha radiallahu anha herself is saying the Prophet ﷺ loved Fatima the most. She is the one reporting this, right?
Yeah.
So how can she report this and not love Fatima?
That's a very good claim or a very good argument. But the problem with this, the Arabs,
we have reports though.
Yeah, I don't deny that, and I know of them.
Yeah.
Like for example, Hadith al-Kisa.
Yeah.
When the Prophet and his even Aisha, she has a hadith on Hadith al-Kisa when on the way towards Mubahala.
Yeah.
She basically she says the Prophet Ali came, then Fatima came in, and فغطاهم بالمرط. There's the idea that he covered them. So even Aisha has a hadith on Hadith al-Kisa in Sahih Muslim. And basically the Arabs, they have a saying which is basically أفضل بما شهدت به الأعداء, which means that the merits or the positive attributes that I might have, the best source of this is my enemy. So Abu Sufyan, when he went to Syria, he met what's his name, Herakl.
Okay, we are making too many points.
No, I'm specifying as to what the comparison is. So when Herakl asked him about the Prophet, Abu Sufyan was a kafir by the time, by consensus of all Muslims. He hadn't converted or anything like that. He was a kafir.
At that time?
Yeah.
And afterwards he did convert.
I mean, that's your opinion.
No,
Shia Islam, we don't believe that. But the point being is, I mean...
But the Shia sources are far less trustworthy than the Sunni sources.
We'll get to that, inshallah.
Yeah.
But the point being is that Abu Sufyan, when he was asked about the Prophet, all of the things he said were merits. The Prophet is the most trustworthy. The Prophet, never
And
lies.
who's narrating this hadith?
I don't know. I don't know who's
Abu
narrating.
Sufyan.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So how is it possible that Abu Sufyan is narrating the hadith and telling you about his disbelief, and then he's saying later on in that very report it debunks your argument against Abu Sufyan. Even Abu Sufyan himself is saying, I used to think. So if you take the report, you can't take parts of the report and reject the other part. You have to take it whole in totality, or don't use it.
His Islam or whether his trustworthiness or not is not the point of dispute. I'm just saying that during the time
you're using the report for your argument.
Yeah, I'm
Why are you using it then?
Because within this context, we're talking about how can someone hate someone and then narrate their their fadail,
It's possible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's
It's
possible,
possible with Aisha to also hate Ali and still narrate.
And it's possible that you don't hate someone and you don't want to narrate.
Absolutely.
I have people in family I don't like, and I don't like to talk about them in positive way.
Yeah.
I don't open my mouth. Yeah. So does that mean I hate them? I want them to go to Jahannam? I want them to die? I want them to suffer? No.
No, but
no. This is very possible. It's human emotions. Why was Aisha, if she was bitter towards Ali, this is a big if.
But the hadith is authentic. I mean,
but from one hadith, from one report, from one lahda, in Arabic, the word lahda is basically a moment.
Yeah.
You cannot use one moment to make a story, make a movie, which is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't do that. So the lahda has to be considered in context, and we have to see whether this moment can be used to represent a reality which you have made up in your mind. Okay? To claim that Aisha hated Ali, you are going to have to do a big long marathon, which you can't. You don't have the sources. Your sources are not acceptable. The Shia sources.
I haven't quoted one Shia source.
And when you try to use the Sunni sources, they go against you, because we have evidence, overwhelming evidence to show that Aisha did not feel hatred towards Ali.
Can you show me one authentic hadith where she says I love Ali?
She doesn't have to. Can you show me one authentic hadith where, for example, Fatima said, I love Ali?
They were married. They were married. They were romantically involved. So that's fair example.
Fine.
They have kids.
And Aisha was the mother of Ali because she was the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. Why does she have to say it? Why does she have to say, my son, I love you? Why does Fatima have to say, my husband, I love you?
I mean, these
are private matters, no?
Well, I mean,
just because
how can it be like a private matter if you have a well-known companion like Ibn Abbas who openly
absence of evidence is not evidence for absence. Okay, so this is the basic principle. Just because Aisha does not have a statement saying I love it, we don't have it from Fatima. Fatima was more closer to Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and there's no statement from Fatima saying I love you, my husband. And I'm sure. Do you agree that she loved her husband?
Yeah, I mean, because that
100%.
was the obviously the notion, because they were romantically involved in their marriage. So
the default position means
that they love each other.
Believers have to love Ali bin Abi Talib. The default position. The default position.
Of course, I mean,
and that's the position we start with. Any evidence that appears to be going against that will have to be interpreted in a different way than the Shias do, because the Shias have a very dirty, negative lens on the Sahaba. Any little this is the reality. This is the reality.
We believe that 12,000 of the Sahaba are just, so we don't.
12,000?
Yeah.
What's that?
12,000 of the Sahaba are just, so we don't
just.
Yeah.
We don't even have 12,000 names of the Sahaba. How can you?
But I mean, because we have an authentic hadith from Al-Sada where it says, where he basically gives a number of like 4,000 from Sahaba.
Where is it?
It's in Basar al-Darajat by Safar.
Okay, so who authenticated it?
Asaf Muhsini authenticated it. And
what's your criteria of authenticating? The Shias do not have a criteria.
Yeah, we do. The criteria of authentication is.
Do you have Rijal, the books of Rijal?
Yeah.
Which ones?
Well, I mean, not like I have them as PDF, so Rijal Najashi or Faris al-Najashi.
I can count them in one hand.
Yeah, there's not that many.
So you don't. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have a science of Rijal.
Do.
You do. I'm not denying you do. But when we do a comparison with what we have, it is primitive. It is childish. It's like a nursery student trying to pretend to be a PhD doctor. Okay, this is what I'm saying. The reports you have on your Rijal, Najashi, Kashi, okay, and other books, and even the works of Hoi recently, right? These works, in comparison to what the Ahl Sunnah have on Rijal, wallahi, it's like showing a speck to the sun.
I mean,
and I'm not exaggerating.
No, I don't deny the size difference in those books, But the thing is that, I mean,
And that lack of information.
historically, the Sunnis, or the ones who accepted the rulership of Abu Bakr, have always been the majority. So obviously you will have more rijal than us. So we've always been the minority in this ummah.
The Shias managed to collect all these reports in Al-Kafi and 3 other books, Al-Istibsar, Man La Yahdur Al-Faqih, Tahzib. All of these books, the reports are coming from two imams predominantly, 90%.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Imam Sadiq and Imam
when
Ja'far.
Shias point fingers at the Sunnis and say you don't have anything from Ali and Ahlul-Bayt, they actually don't know what they're talking about, because the Shias don't have anything from Ali.
That's a false narrative also, because we have an authentically transmitted hadith where the Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, لو كنا نحدث بآرائنا لكنا من الهالكين ولكنها آثار نرثها عن آبائنا كابر عن كابر كما يرث الناس فضتهم وذهبهم. And that's also an authentic hadith, which means that everything that I'm telling you is from my father. So when a Sadiq says something, it's the words of Al-Baqir. When Al-Baqir says something, it's the words of
We don't have a problem with that. Yeah. We don't have a problem.
So everything we have is from the Prophet and from Ali.
We claim Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq radiyallahu alayhima. Okay? Yeah. And we say salatu salam as well, no problem. We have no issue with that, because it's a misunderstanding in the minds of a lot of people. They don't say alayhi.
I don't even mind if someone says Ja'far rahimahullah or Sadiq rahimahullah.
No problem with that.
It's fine. I mean,
it's fine, exactly. We are respecting them.
issue.
We are respecting them.
It's not a major issue for me.
We believe they are imams. They don't represent the Ithna Ashariya way of thinking. Why? Because the people who are attributing information to them are mainly 4 or 5 sources. Okay? They are a bunch of liars, untrustworthy people.
Jabir ibn Yazid al-Ju'fi was a liar?
Yes.
What does Sufyan al-Thawri say about him?
Forget Sufyan al-Thawri.
Sufyan al-Thawri is a major imam. He says, Jabir إذا قال حدثني فهو أصدق الناس.
Allahu Akbar.
That's what he says.
I am very surprised you're saying this. Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi, about him Imam Abu Hanifa, who was not even from the Ashab al-Hadith. Imam Abu Hanifa was a faqih, right? And he said...
You know what Salih said about Abu Hanifa?
Yeah.
He cursed him.
You're gonna have to prove it. From
Ibn Habban's Du'afa, go back to Du'afa bin...
No, those reports are batil. Batil.
All of them are batil?
I will tell you the authentic report. I've looked into this. Ibn Hibban and even Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shaybah, he's a chapter on Abu Hanifa where he goes against...
Even Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi has an entire chapter where the Salaf just get
I am aware of it. I've read parts of it. I am aware. A lot of the reports in favor of Imam Abu Hanifa and against him are batil. I'm telling you, it's not less.
Okay.
You know what? It's not less. Sanad-less.
Yeah, ma'doom sanad.
Just claims. Likewise, these things you're going to say to me about Imam. What we do know about Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah, he said about Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi, I have not seen a bigger liar than him.
Of course he would say that.
Why wouldn't he? He's a Raf. Look, he's
of course we are Rafida. That's known.
Yeah, so he's lying. He's forging. And on top of that, we have Zurara, we have Salim, Hisham bin Salim, Hisham bin Hakam. These people, you're talking about Imam Abu Hanifa, these people have been cursed by the Imams themselves in your authentic reports.
Not all of them. I mean, Zurara has.
Al-Khoy is saying they're authentic.
Yeah, I mean,
where he's cursing Zurara.
That is true. That is authentic.
And Hisham bin Hakam and Hisham bin Salim. I'll show you the reports.
Hisham bin Hakam, Hisham bin Salim, I'm not aware of, but Zurara I am aware of.
Okay, let's take Zurara. 2000. You can say half the narrations of the 2 Imams.
Yeah, maybe like 30%. I mean, not half. Like half is a bit.
Let's say 20%.
Yeah, okay,
I'm gonna come down.
Half is a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's a lot, akhi. Wallahi.
It was 20%.
If someone came to me and said Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, radiyallahu an, Abdullah bin Umar, Anas bin Malik, and Abdullah bin Masud were cursed by the Prophet. I would be shivering. I would be really concerned about my deen. Am I following my deen from the people who actually it is claimed to have come from, or am I just following a bunch of liars? Okay, I don't know why the Shia, when we speak with them, don't think this is a big deal. You're claiming that you are following the Ahlul-Bayt, and we love the claim. Claim is beautiful, okay? But are you following the Ahlul-Bayt is the question. You're going to have to prove to me. You see, why are we going into this discussion of the sources? We're going into this discussion because before we even get to discussing any points of contention, we have to establish what we are following. What are we going to use against each other? Like, for example, when you use the report of Abu Sufyan to make a point, I stopped you there. I said, the report goes against you, brother. The report you're using For example, a Christian once called us online and he said that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used a Christian scribe. And I'm thinking, that's impossible. He said, no, you know about the report, you're liars, you're this. Where's the report? Bring the report. He brought the report. He says there was a Christian guy, he converted to Islam and he started writing the wahi. And then he went back. He became a murtad. And then when he was being put into the grave threw him out 3 times. I asked him, now we know where you're coming from, but do you accept the report or part of the report? He said, I said, no. Because the report proves that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a true prophet of God. It doesn't prove your point, it proves my point. Because the grave is throwing him out. So when the Shia brothers use our reports to make their points, then they have to be consistent. You can't have your cake and eat it. Then you have to be consistent. We don't use Shia reports. Why? Firstly, because we know they are not trustworthy. 95% of them, to us, according to our higher standard, because our standard is higher than the Shia. No, it is. If your standard was higher than ours, you would not listen to Zurara and Hisham and Hakam. Hisham bin Salim and
First of all, there's a lot to basically address there.
Yeah.
So going back to the issue of like if the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to, for example, curse Abi Sa'id al-Khudri or Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari or any companion, then this would worry. Okay, of course it would, because the curse of the prophets, we believe that his dua is accepted and so on. So this is a definitive excommunication away from the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal. But the issue is that when you compare the time of Ja'far alayhi salatu wasalam with the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was in power, this is not a comparable situation. So even in your sources, Malik ibn Anas, the Imam of the Malikiyah, he would not narrate from Ja'far during the time of Bani Umayyah. So the issue of this idea of like being away from the Ahulu-AlBait because of taqiyya, because of the fear of persecution, is even within Sunni standards.
Hassan Basri, he wouldn't mention Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. Yes, we are aware of this. By the way, who tells you about these things?
It's in your books.
It's the Ahlul Sunnah. It's ironic that you're using this against us. We are the ones telling you this.
And we are the ones telling you that our Imam said so and so about our companions. So
what you're telling us is not even from the Imams. We are claiming, because those liars who are narrating from the Imams, 90% of your reports are coming from 4 or 5 sources.
Adnan al-Bakri is
Abu Basir,
yeah.
Hisham bin Hakam, Hisham bin Salim, and Zurara ibn Ayyad, and there are a couple of others. Okay, this is 90%.
Jabir is also like a giant narrator.
Yes.
Aban is also a giant narrator.
Yeah.
Aban al-Taghlib, by the way, is saduq by all. He is.
You're reading. Have you read Rijal al-Kashi?
No, not really.
You haven't. I want you to go and read the reports on Zurara ibn Ayyad and Hisham bin Hakam and Hisham bin Salim. Okay, from different. There are other sources.
For example, Al-Dhahabi, when he talks about Aban ibn Taghlib al-Bakri, rahimahullah ta'ala, who is from our Salaf, he says Saduqun Shia, which means that he was a trustworthy narrator and he is a Shia.
He was maybe Tafdili.
Actually,
never will you find a Rafidi.
No, they are Rafidi. The Shaykh al-Bukhari was a Rafidi. Do you know the Shaykh al-Bukhari?
Now you're opening many cans of worms, and we're going to address one by one.
I'm pretty sure.
You're going to have to prove to me now that Bukhari had a Shaykh who was Rafidi. You're going to prove, and authentic.
Yes,
you're going to have to show me authentic reports that this Shaykh of Tafdili I know.
Not Tafdili. This guy was a Rafidi.
Okay. You're going to show me that he used to insult the Sahaba.
He used to.
Okay.
Ahulu-AlBait, that's his name.
Okay. And you're going to show me the report from Bukhari where he is in the chain.
Yeah.
And you're going to show me.
Abbad bin Ahulu-AlBait. That's his name. I'll show you.
Okay. That's interesting. So there's only one Rafidi you're saying is in Bukhari.
This guy is.
We know Tafdiliya. They're the Tafdiliya.
The reason why I'm quoting him is because I know he's from our Salaf. He's a Ashari. The others, I'm not sure.
No, you can claim that.
No, it's not a claim. It's
how do you know that? That he's narrating your reports?
Yeah, if you go back to the source called.
Do you know Shia narrators were forging reports in the name of authentic men? authentic rijal. Are you aware of this? This is a known phenomenon.
I mean, wallah,
the Shia
everywhere.
reporters from Iraq and Kufa and Basra, they were projecting reports backwards towards authentic narrators for them to be accepted by the Ahl Sunnah. You know about this?
Which narrators? I'm not like
Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi.
Was he waddah? Was he did this?
Allahu Akbar. I am surprised that you're even in questioning.
I mean,
are you aware of his profile? Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi.
Yeah,
he was the famous Kufan liar. Everyone is known him. Everyone knows him as a Kufan.
I mean, Sufyan al-Thawri is a Kufan.
You used al-Dhahabi.
Yeah.
You used al-Dhahabi. Yeah. You used al-Dhahabi to claim a point. Go to al-Dhahabi and now.
I know.
No.
I have read.
You can't have your cake and eat it.
I have read his tarjama in Sirah al-Nubala by Dhahabi.
No. But I want you to read what al-Dhahabi said about Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi.
And he's going to do ta'an of him. I realize
so
that.
Why are you using what did Dhahabi say about the other Shia Rawat? These are a bunch of liars.
Not all of them.
So don't mention al-Dhahabi if he doesn't support your position. Don't mention al-Dhahabi because you're going to quote him selectively.
Of course I am, because when I
No, don't do that.
Why?
Because you can't have your cake and eat it, as they say.
Well, that's not how it works, because as a Shia, I can't.
Look, you're gonna make a small point, a side point to using Dhahabi, while Dhahabi is basically entirely demolishing your house of cards.
The reason as to why I quoted Dhahabi is because I said Aban ibn Taghlib, and then you said he's basically a Shia Mufaddala. That's in Sunni Hadith science. He's actually described as that. In the Shia context, he's not.
So we don't accept anything from the Shia. You have to understand, and I'm being very blunt about that.
No, I get that.
Yeah, because we don't believe these people.
It's vice versa, by the way. I mean, it's not like Bukhari is a joke.
You don't have the grounds to reject our sources. I'll tell you why.
Why?
You have other reasons. You don't have the reasons that they're untrustworthy, they're liars.
No, I do.
No.
I do, of course I do.
No,
I believe those Sahaba, the Tabaqa, Abu Hurairah to me is a liar. Abu Hurairah is the major narrator. Aisha to me was not telling the truth. I mean, she herself, by the way, that's also an interesting point, but let's get to Abbad. We're going to talk about trustworthiness and
it's a matter of opinion. When you form an opinion about someone, I have grounds. I'm using your books, your imams, to tell you that your narrators, the Prophet did not tell us Aisha is a liar.
She herself says.
No, she does not say she's a liar.
I'll give you an example. The hadith of
we're hopping from point to point. Let's stick to one point.
So Abbad, who was the Shaykh of al-Bukhari, here we go. See, this is Sirah al-Nubala by Dhahabi. He says, Al-Rawajini, الشيخ العالم الصدوق محدث الشيعة أبو
Oh yeah. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Yes. We're in the middle of a conversation. No problem. Fair inshallah.
So he says Al-Rawajini, and he mentions Bukhari, right? Sahih as Bukhari, right? So there's Shaykh al-Alim al-Saduq, Muhaddith al-Shia, Abu Sa'id, Abbad ibn Yaqub al-Asadi, Al-Rawajini, Al-Kufi, Al-Mubtadi', the innovator.
Al-Mubtadi', al-Taqdiliya, yes.
No. روى عنه شريك القاضي, and he mentions it. روى عنه البخاري حديثا, and then he also mentions where فيه غلو في التشيع أن عبادًا كان يشتم السلف.
Yes.
He used to he used to insult the Salaf. Who's he referring to? The Salaf is the Sahaba and Tabi'in.
Not necessarily.
Okay. One here.
Yeah.
There's basically another thing. وقال ابن عدي.
So is he saying he's acceptable?
Yeah, of course. Saduq, and Bukhari narrates from him. Okay. His name is Abbad ibn Yaqub al-Rawajini. You can go back.
So he's Tafdili. He's from the Tafdiliya. And
look, كان يشتم عثمان. He used to insult Uthman.
Okay. Now you are translating this. You know what Tafdili is, yeah?
I know.
What is it? There are two types.
Yes, there are some Shia who basically would say that Ali is better than all the Sahaba, and there are some Shia who say that Ali is better than Uthman, and Abu Bakr and Umar is better.
So he was one of them. He was the second category. So you will not show me any insult from his mouth against the Sahaba. When you say, shatam in Arabic language,
insult,
it can mean not necessarily. It can mean criticizing. It can mean a number of things. Okay, what the Rafida do is la'an.
Yeah.
Okay, they do la'an upon the Sahaba. You're not going to show me a narrator from Bukhari who did la'an upon the Sahaba or la'an upon even Uthman. Okay, you will not show me that. If you show me that, then you have a point. But now go to Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi in Sirah Alam al-Nubala. You're reading this to me, and I'm countering your point by highlighting that shatam doesn't necessarily mean la'an.
It doesn't, but I mean, it's kind of obvious when all these, they get very uncomfortable when he's, and by the way, even Ibn Adi, he mentions an opinion. He says, كان يروي مناكير في الفضائل والمثالب. المثالب, what's he referring to? Mathalib of who? All the Sahaba.
Okay, if Imam al-Dhahabi has this opinion, he will have to, if he doesn't present evidence, we don't have to accept it. You know Imam al-Dhahabi, how we read it, how we read Sirah Alam al-Nubala, how we read, what is the method of reading Imam al-Dhahabi. There are certain principles ulama have devised that you read al-Dhahabi like this. Okay, so when Dhahabi says he makes a claim, doesn't necessarily mean the claim is true. It's not black and white. It's not Quran and Sunnah for us. Okay, so we can, if Imam al-Dhahabi narrates something and there is no sanad, we don't accept it. For example, that famous poem attributed to Abdullah bin Mubarak, Ya Abid al-Haramain, law absartana lalimta annaka bil ibadati tala'abu, something like that. Okay, we don't accept it because it's bila sanad. There is no chain to it. Okay?
I don't disagree with
Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi, if you go to Sirah Alam al-Nubala and read what he said.
I mean, he did mention a chain from Ibn Adi, by the way, but we'll move on to Jabir now. There we go.
Hamza, did you get something?
I can't find it from Sirah al-Nubala, but I can find it in this hadith transmitter's website.
No, see, I want to see what he said about...
I can find...
There's nothing, Jabir al-Ju'fi.
I'm trying.
Right, عند الظهبي.
And the man?
عند الظهبي.
And the Dhahabi, no.
Yeah, right. Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi.
Jabir bin Yazid and the Dhahabi.
So wallahi, it really saddens me that when intelligent brothers like you ignore some very basic realities in your own books and your own theology, and yeah, go on.
I mean, I tried, but like I wrote Jabir bin Yazid al-Ju'fi and the Dhahabi fi Sirah Alam al-Nubala, and it doesn't really show.
Fair, inshallah, we'll find it in the time. But the point is that we have grounds to tell the Shia that when you come to us telling us that we follow the Ahulu-AlBait and you don't. Very powerful claim, very interesting claim. Those who read the books and sources, they know this claim is as shallow as an empty bottle. Why? Because when we actually scrutinize the teachings of the Ahulu-AlBait, they are not actually the teachings of the Ahulu-AlBait. They are not, because the people who are narrating from the Ahlul, because Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, if he came in front of me, I would not question him.
Okay.
If Imam Muhammad al-Baqir came in front of me today, I would not question. I would say, Imam, you lead and I follow. Okay. With regards to this idea of trustworthiness, we're going. I mean, you repeated the point, a few times, and I appreciate that. But the issue is that we don't really look back at within our own home. So one of the major narrators, obviously you have three major narrators: Aisha, Abu Hurairah, and Anas ibn Malik. Those are like the three major. Yeah. Let's talk about them.
So
you show me the lies.
So
you show me anyone who called them a liar.
No, I'll show you a hadith of Aisha. She herself, she claims that, or basically within the hadith, she alludes to herself lying. So basically, the hadith is known. It's called Hadith al-Maghafir. You know of it, right? When she says when the Prophet used to go to the house of Zainab, and he used to get this.
We call it a white lie. You know.
She claims to be a liar.
I'll tell you why.
So that's a lie.
No.
That's one example. I've got two.
This is not a lie. I'll tell you, this is not a lie. This is not. You know when the Sahaba used to say kadaba fulan, right? They didn't actually mean that this is a liar. They meant he is mistaken. The word kadab
can also mean mistake.
In Arabic language, right? So when Aisha is saying what she's saying about maghafir and all that.
Akalta maghafir, and she knows he didn't.
Okay, no.
But I know she's jealous and
So when the Prophet said, "You speak to me like the women of Yusuf." Thank you. So is he condemning them, or is he highlighting? What did the women of Yusuf do?
Wasn't this like?
What did they do? They conspired.
Yeah, I mean.
They conspired to trap Yusuf, right? Right? Sorry, we're in the middle of a conversation.
Are you his son? Is he your son?
Why?
No, he just said I was taught to his father. So
Yeah.
I just was interested.
Yeah. Okay.
Will you be here another time?
Thank you. We're in the middle of a conversation right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no problem.
Great, thank you. Bye. Another time. So, what about yourself? Any questions? Any questions you have?
He asks me questions and he gets answers. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Stay. Yeah. So the point I was making was that where were we last before?
It's about this idea of the maghafir and the swahibat.
Yeah. So he herself is telling you this, and in this hadith, what do I read? You read something. You read a lie. Okay. What do I read? I read love. Two different readings, yeah?
Or maybe
because I'll tell you why.
Irritating.
No, because there are two different lenses on the same hadith. Okay? For the viewers, let me explain what the hadith is. That where Aisha and Hafsa radiallahu anhuma, they decided that they're gonna do this thing.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, conspiracy. Yeah, absolutely.
Quran calls it conspiracy.
Why? What was the good. This is a very good point now you made. Conspiracy. They were conspiring.
فَإِن تَظَاهَرَ عَلَيْهِ.
Absolutely. Amazing. I agree. Shake my hands on that. What is the motivation for this conspiracy? I want now. First of all, is every conspiracy bad?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Conspiracies can be for moral ends too, right? Okay. So now, this conspiracy, and I agree with you, it was a conspiracy. No problem with that. I'll give you that. What was the motivation for this conspiracy? According to the same reports you're using, to claim that they were lying, they were liars.
No, because it was an issue like of jealousy. This idea that he would go and.
Why were they jealous? I mean, you guys claim they had no love for the Prophet. They were a bunch of munafiqat, right?
That's true, yeah.
Okay, but now you're telling me they were jealous. Jealous of what?
That the Prophet would basically spend time with Zainab and.
Why? They don't get lost. A'udhu billah, summa a'udhu billah, go.
No, I mean because
if a woman doesn't love her husband, she will be happy when he goes.
But Rasulullah was just any man. First of all, second.
I agree, but they don't love him.
No, but he will bring the ownership of this earth to them. So obviously for the mulk, for ownership and,
do they,
and being
So they are conspiring to attract him. Yeah. But then they're not jealous. It's basically.
I mean, for us, we have a hadith from the Prophet. I know you don't accept our sources, but it's in our books where he says, "Ma tada'u Aisha adawatana Ahl-AlBait." Aisha will never stop hurting us, the people of the Ahl-AlBait.
Lie.
So, I know.
It's an absolute lie. I don't accept it.
Of course you don't.
So let's not bring it.
Yeah, but the point being is this idea.
That's the problem. You're using.
I am understanding the hadith based on that perspective that she's hurting the prophets, whereby Allah Azza wa Jalla reveals an entire chapter condemning them.
No, there's no condemnation there. That's a good point. You're making a good point. Let's talk about it. Good.
زيغ who's أهل الزيغ؟ أهل الزيغ أهل النفاق. البغوي in his tafsir.
Good point. Yeah. I agree with you. Okay, that's what Allah said. How can I say Allah didn't say that? Right? Now let's talk about it. Let's read between the lines, as they say. Yeah? Let's get as they say. I say the angel is in the details, not the devil. The angel is in the details. Let's go to the angel. Right? Firstly, your claim from the reports you're using that they were jealous. You said.
Yeah.
Do you still stand by that?
I mean, this is the Sunni understanding. I don't believe that.
Do you not accept that? You don't believe they were jealous? No. So why were they doing? What was the motivation?
Just to hurt the Prophet, just to annoy him.
Just to annoy him?
Yeah,
where's the evidence for that?
As I quoted the hadith in our books.
And if they wanted to annoy him,
annoy him.
Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveal in the Quran, that they are the mothers of the believers, number one, and the Prophet knows what that means. And the Prophet keeps them to be the mothers of the believers. Who is to blame now? They are munafiqat. A'udhu billah, a'udhu billah. I'm using these terms to make the conversation fruitful. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have to sometimes to clean rubbish, you have to get your hands dirty. So I'm getting my hands dirty now, unfortunately, right? They are munafiqat, they are liars, they are conspiring against the Prophet, they want to hurt him, right? And they want to do all those things. And then Allah reveals their condemnation in the Quran, according to you.
Of course.
Then the Prophet, having known, and then the same Quran tells us, النبي أولى بالمؤمنين أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواج plural
لا إله إلا الله.
أزواج it's plural it's at least it's more than one وأزواجه أمهاتهم.
لا تتخذ القرآن عضين. Do not take a verse and leave other verses يا أخي. Allah عز وجل, what did he say? إن الله أعد للمحسنات من كنا تبعيض من كنا أجرا عظيما. So for a wife to reach this high status, she must be what? Muhsina, as per Surah Al-Ahzab.
Good.
So we cannot just take one verse, النبي أولى بالمؤمنين أنفسهم.
I'm leading up to a point. Your understanding is what you say it is, and we're assuming the Prophet's understanding was the same, because you're not better than the Prophet.
No.
He had more knowledge. He was the man directly dealing with these individuals. Okay, they're conspiring, they're lying, they're cheating in the sense that they are trying to deceive the Prophet ﷺ, right?
By the way, just to say, I don't believe that Aisha committed adultery. I don't believe that.
Okay.
She did not do this.
Some Shia do.
They are idiots, but I don't believe
but they are dogs. I'm not saying they're idiots. They're dogs. They're pigs. They're actually these people who are barking on the izzah, the honor of the Prophet ﷺ are pigs. They're not dogs. Okay, dogs would be insulted. So I'm sorry, I don't usually use these words. But with these people, absolutely. They're pigs. They're khanazir.
Even within Shia literature, there's no evidence, like literally no hadith evidence.
So these are khanazir. You agree with me, right?
Of course.
They're khanazir. Right. So the point now is, and where are these khanazir born from? They are born from this kind of understanding. When you read a liar, a conspirator, someone who's after dunya, you're not far from calling someone adult. Why wouldn't you go as far as she was also an adulteress?
Because we're just people. Allah Azza wa Jalla says that we must be just. So when someone doesn't, for example, the wife of Nuh and Lut, they also disbelieve it. Do we say adulteress?
We don't. And we have clarity in the Quran that who the wife of Nuh and Lut were, right? We have clarity. That clarity does not exist with Ummahatul Mu'minin. I'll tell you why. Lut did not go back to his wife.
She perished. I mean, they all perished, of course.
Good. They perished?
Yeah.
Okay. Nuh, his wife perished. But let's say if she didn't perish, and Allah has declared them to be kafirat in the Quran, do you think Nuh and Lut would go back to them in the arms?
They were kuffar prior to that, and they were still married to them. The point being is, Allah Azza wa Jal, when he refers to this, by the way, there are two qira'at.
I don't believe they were kuffar prior to that. No.
How?
No, they became kuffar because of the actions. No. The Quran does not say they were already kuffar. They were already. You're assuming this.
But if you go back to the tafsir of Tabari, pick up any old classical tafsir, Tabari, he will mention to you that the wife of.
Then the prophets didn't know. The prophets didn't know.
She would literally.
Why? If knowing well that is a kafira in my house and she's conspiring against me, you would say. So we believe the prophets didn't know. They didn't have ilm al-ghaib. We don't.
No.
They didn't know.
It's not about ilm al-ghaib. I mean, this was zahir. This was apparent.
Why did Nuh alayhi salam say, "Oh Allah, that's my son"? And what does Allah tell him? Why? Does he not know? No. Allah is telling him something he doesn't know. And Allah told him, now don't say this again.
Yeah?
Thank you. So that's making a point.
This idea that إنه ليس من أهلك أنه عمل غير صالح.
So why is Allah telling him that? Because maybe Nuh alayhi salam was not aware of his status with Allah.
But this understanding that when, for example, a prophet says something and Allah rebutes or corrects, this is to show the people that, for example, if you have
we don't accept that.
I mean, that's your
Allah is telling them what they don't know. This is akhbarul ghaib. Quran is khabarul ghaib. Quran came from ghaib. Allah is saying in the Quran, you were not aware.
No, look, ما كنت تدري, this idea of ما كنت تدري ولا the verses are not really.
Why is Allah saying you didn't know? You from the ghafilun.
Well, because
ghafil in the sense means unaware. Ghafil is unaware. You were not aware.
I know, but the But there is like two types of
Unawareness.
no, not unawareness. It's because the actual verse, when it's talking about this instance, it's basically that Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, he must like show some kind of ignorance or bliss, not bliss, sorry, like ignorance towards that reality that that he's basically calling his son, and then Allah Azza wa Jalla says to him that he's not his son, but in reality he knows, but he what's it called? But he doesn't show this. Like for example, if I was to make a comparison, the Prophet sometimes he would intentionally make a mistake in prayer to basically show.
No, we don't believe that. You're saying the Prophet. No, you're claiming something about the Prophet without evidence.
Look,
you're saying that he would deliberately mislead people.
Can I just explain? I have actually quite trouble in speaking. Like it's like a disability in a way.
Okay.
But it's just like.
No, you're speaking fine.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like I lag a lot and I stop a lot when I talk. I don't know why. It's just.
But coming back to the issue of why is you're saying.
But let me just explain this point. So. When I said he intentionally makes a mistake, it's not that he's making a mistake. Allah Azza wa Jalla changes his taklif to make a mistake in this instance, so that people know what they would do if they would pray and make a mistake.
No, we don't believe that. This is the spin the Shia.
Yeah.
If the Shia do believe this,
we do.
I don't know if this is your own opinion, the Shia opinion.
We do believe it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they have to come up with these stories to substantiate their false ideas. Okay, Shias had to come up with a lot of stories in the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th century to substantiate some of their batil ideas, like the Quran, tahrif of the Quran, which is another topic.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe in it, but I will pull out.
And no serious scholar believes in that.
No, don't go there.
Al-Mufid,
Let's come back.
Al-Saduq, Al-Sayyid al-Murtawa, all that.
Let's come back to that. Yeah. Let's come back to that issue. Let's come back. This is another tangent.
So can I just mention this idea of Aisha and then we can do something else? Yeah. So there are two qira'at. صغت قلوبكما and زاغت. زاغت is the qira'ah of Ibn Mas'ud rahimahullah ta'ala.
No, it's not. Is it one of the 10?
No, it's not mutawatir, but it's from him. It's from him.
Now the Shias are claiming there's another Quran.
No. Look,
right.
It's in Tabari. Go to any tafsir.
No. We know there are many qira'at attributed.
No, it's not attributed. Look, there are qira'at ashra mutawatira.
Yeah.
Which are the ones that we can.
Is it from them?
It's not.
Then it's not the Quran. Full stop.
It is the Quran.
Brother, look, you know what the definition of the Quran is?
It doesn't necessarily.
You know what the definition of what is the Quran? What is the Quran?
That which Allah has revealed in
through who?
Through
How?
Angel Gabriel to the Prophet.
The Quran that has been revealed to the Prophet by Allah, taught by the Prophet to the companions, and transmitted to us through authentic chains of narration and that can be found in the Masahif of Uthman. Okay, that's the Quran.
No, it's not. I mean, the Masahif of Uthman doesn't really mean anything.
Go to Iran and Iraq and go to your Hussainiyat and pick up the Quran. That's the Rasam of Uthman. Whether you like it or not, you're reading the Quran compiled by.
No, Hassan Azam and Abi Abdurrahman Sunni and man.
No,
Ali.
You know what the Rasam is?
I don't care of the Ottoman Empire, how they.
Brother, Rasam.
Yeah,
you don't know what.
No, Rasam, I know the actual writing of it.
Rasam has got nothing to do with the Ottoman Empire and.
It is.
And the Mamluks.
It is.
No, Rasam is what we find in the most ancient manuscripts. That's the Rasam of Uthman. Let me show you. This is the Rasam of Uthman. Okay, so that you understand. This is the Rasam of Uthman, brother.
That's in Birmingham, isn't it?
No, this is Sana'a.
Sana'a, yeah,
this is what we call Rasam of Uthman. If you Google Sana'a manuscripts,
Sana'a,
you will Sana'a manuscripts. You will see what I'm talking about to the brother. Rasam of Uthman is this. This is what we call this. The Shia have nothing other than this. This is what you're reading in your Hussainiyat. This is the Quran you're reading.
We don't rely upon Uthman at all.
Brother, you have no choice. You don't know about this. Maybe you don't know about this. You have no compilation of the Quran other than the compilation of Uthman.
No, we have chains of the Quran. If you go to Bihar and
First of all, the chains are irrelevant on their own if there is no rasam to back the chains.
We don't care about. I mean, it's oral transmission. We don't care about rasam. If this existed or didn't, without hard the Quran.
No, Quran has been preserved. How is the Quran been preserved?
Tawatur.
No.
Yes.
Not necessarily.
How?
No. Tawatur, yes. Tawatur.
That is the main.
Tawatur plus the Musahif. Brother, without the Musahif,
do you know how many mistakes there can be in
anyone
Musahif?
can claim Tawatur.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The Tawatur, when you claim Tawatur, which means even if a group of Buddhists, atheists, and whatever.
Maybe Quranic studies is not the strongest point of your, I'm telling you, I've looked, because we have.
It's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't listen to me. Pick up Western non-Muslim scholars, Nikolai Sinai. There is this guy Deroche, Francois Deroche, who has written the Quran, the Umayyad Qurans. Okay, go and read the book, and then you will understand a bit more about the Rasam and the Sanad. What is the difference between Tawatur and Rasam? Okay,
I'll check them out.
So other than that, the issue of the Quran, the Qira you were going to use, we disregarded because it's not from the 10 Tawatur.
No one has disregarded it. Ibn Kathir, for example, not Dimashqi, but another one.
Let me explain something to you. Just because a tafsir mentions something, like this was the
all tafsir, all of them.
Just
I dare you give me one text, one classical tafsir that doesn't mention this.
It's not, if it's not from the 10 qira'at. If it's not from the 10 qira'at, then it's not the Quran, brother.
No,
if it's not from it is from the mutawatir.
Look, it's not from the qira'at al-ashr. But the issue is.
Let me establish this. Let me make it easy. Any reading attributed to the Quran that does not have tawatur, is that the Quran? If I claim something to be the Quran today,
if it's authentically transmitted, then yes.
No. Listen to me carefully. My question. The Quran has to be tawatur. The Quran has to be tawatur, brother.
It doesn't.
That's the definition of the Quran.
But I base my religion on the Quran and the Sunnah. If you bring me something,
this shocks me. Wallahi, this shocks me that you, as a Shia student, mashallah, you know Arabic. You are reading the reports in Arabic language, and you don't know this basic fact about the Quran.
Ya akhi, this is something which people have come up with. This idea that qira'ah has to be mutawatir. There's no saying from the Prophet, Ya qawm, khudhu minni hadha al-Quran idha tawatar. This doesn't exist.
No, there is. How do we know this? How do we know that the Quran has to be from the tawatur? How do we know?
It's just something people have.
Because
this is actually a major issue amongst
the Sahaba. Because of the Sahaba.
Of course, because
they did not accept any attribution at face value. They were asking for tawatur from the Sahaba. For example, when Uthman put down anything in the Mus'haf, it was not Uthman. It was a committee of the Sahaba who received parchments written down by Sahaba from different sources. 2 verses were not there in written. 2 verses. And the Sahaba knew these verses are from the Quran. 2 verses. The last verses of Surah Tawbah. And they were found with one Sahabi, Abu Khuzayba al-Ansari. He brought them. And they asked for another witness. He said, I'm the only witness. And they know it's from the Quran. But they cannot put it down because they put a very strict criteria to document the Quran. And then Abu Khuzayba al-Ansari, about him there was a report. When the Prophet ﷺ had a transaction with a person, and he went back on the transaction. So Abu Khuzayma al-Ansari was passing through that place, and you know the story, yeah? Oh. Okay. And the Prophet said, we had a deal. The guy went back on the deal, and he said, we did not have a deal. The Prophet said, we have a deal. So Abu Khuzayma al-Ansari said, I testify that the Prophet had a deal. The Prophet said, you weren't there. How do you know? He said, Ya Rasulullah, we testify to the ghaib, that an angel comes to you and brings the Quran to you. This is far less than that. And Abu Khuzayma al-Ansari, the Prophet said about him that your testimony is equal to 2, not 1. That's why, to prove that point, they accepted that last 2 verses of Surah Tawbah from him. Brother, these things you need to know.
But look,
okay?
That story,
okay. And I recommend a book for you. It is called History of the Quranic Text from Revelation to Compilation. Read that book and it will clarify a lot of these things to you, okay? A lot of these things we are discussing, you will know what the Quran is. Okay, firstly, you need to know as a Shia brother, as a student, what is the Quran? What this phenomenon called the Quran, what constitutes it? If you don't know, how can we even have a conversation? So now I'm explaining to you, the Quran is, so that qira'ah, that reading you are using, put it aside. It's not part of the conversation. It's not part of the discussion. Yeah. It's not from the 10, right?
It's not.
Okay, put it aside. Not to be discussed. It's irrelevant. Now coming to the issue.
Look, this issue of tawatur contra ahad.
This is another issue. Wait. This is another discussion.
It is authentically transmitted.
Sorry?
It is authentically transmitted. This idea of zaghat, zayg, and sagat.
You're still not getting my point.
Brother,
first,
the story
before you continue with me, you need to go and check with your scholars, okay, and our scholars, what is the Quran? then come to me. Okay, don't bring this out. Don't bring it, because clearly you don't know. Clearly you're lacking in that.
Let me bring because you
Quran has to be tawatur. Full stop. Period. There's no other discussion on this. Okay, every single word, every single verse of the Quran has to be transmitted to tawatur, not just authentic. Okay, that's a standard for the Quran. We have a very high standard for the Quran. Every single verse, I can stand here today in the 21st century, claim with confidence that every single verse of the Quran, every single sentence came from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In that way, the way it's written down. Okay,
that's not an issue of contention.
Coming back to the issue of Aisha radiallahu anha, you're claiming she conspired, she lied, and she had dunya at heart, not the love of the Prophet.
I had two hadiths. I only quote this one, the one of Maghafir. The other hadith is also in Sahih Muslim. And basically the Prophet, he went to visit the graves, some graves of Shuhada and so on, Sahaba. And then Aisha, she followed him. Okay, you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, so she followed him.
Very good.
So
very good report. You're going to make my point for me.
She followed
Go
him.
ahead.
And then the Prophet realized that there's someone's following him. And then he rushes back and she rushes before him. She sleeps and she has like really high breath. She's breathing in and out, exhaling, inhaling in a quick manner. And he says to her, "Ma hada nafsu ali." Why are you, breathing so loud? And she says, "Wala shay." It's because of nothing. Lie. You basically ran. It's not because of nothing. Then she says, "فلهدني لهدة أوجعتني." He punched me. Lahda is, بجمع اليد. Bam. Right? He punched me and it hurts me. And she's narrating this years after it happening. So she still remembers that the Prophet physically hurt her. And what does Allah Azza wa Jalla say in the Quran?
Okay, wait.
Ya ayyuhan nabi.
What is the word?
Lahadani.
Punch.
Lahada.
Falahada.
Lahda.
Falahada is not to punch. I checked from the qamus. I checked from the dictionaries. It means to press. Brother. Darab is, you can say darab is punch.
No, I mean...
One can argue, darab is striking. Falahada is to press, to burden. Check, Ibn Mandur.
Okay.
Go and check.
Lahda. It is,
Lahada.
as far as I know, it is darabatu bijam' al-yad.
You insist, I've checked.
I've
checked. Because Christian missionaries were using this against us.
Okay.
Not long ago. David Wood was using this against us. And I checked the meaning. Yeah, it's to press.
Yeah.
Falahada is to press.
Fair enough, but he still hurt her. He still has that. When I do this to you, he caused her. The Prophet caused her pain. Sorry? The Prophet caused Aisha pain. He hurt her.
Yeah. Does that hurt?
Well, not me, but it hurt Aisha.
It doesn't hurt?
No.
Are you sure?
No, it doesn't hurt.
Brother, come on.
It doesn't hurt. No, it doesn't hurt.
Say that Aisha, she reported this.
Yes.
Did she say I was hurt?
Yes, she did.
It says that it hurt me. Okay, but I'm saying, did this hurt you? Does that hurt you?
Yeah.
Does that hurt you? Are you sure? Because it doesn't hurt him. Does that hurt you?
No, it doesn't hurt me, but if it did hurt me...
Does it cause you any pain?
No, but...
Does it cause you any pain?
But even if I press on my on my body.
The continuation of the story. What did she say afterwards?
So the point anyway. The point you're making is that Aisha radiallahu anha, she was doing something. This is amazing now.
And what does Allah say about this to the Prophet? يا أيها النبي جاهد الكفار والمنافقين واغلظ عليهم. So is this not an example of ghilza, of harshness?
No.
How is it not? He hurt her.
Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, unbelievable. So now you're telling me that
this is ghilza. This is the example.
Okay. When Ali bin Abi Talib, when Ali bin Abi Talib struck Hassan on the chest.
Why did he do this?
When they failed to protect Uthman at the door.
Well, it's fabricated. It's false. Hadith is not.
I'm not going to use it. If you're going to contest it, no problem.
Of course.
But we can have other examples from the Quran with prophets. Harun. Wait. Now you're going to stand by. Yeah. So now Harun is A'udhu Billah is from the Munafiqeen and the Kuffar?
No, it's not.
So why is Musa so harsh with him?
Well, because
Musa did more than the Prophet did to Aisha.
Yeah, I know. He took him by the hair, I know.
Allahu Akbar.
But the thing is...
So think before you make an argument.
No.
Okay. So now, again, let me come back to the main point I was making. Aisha radiallahu anha, you're saying she had dunya, she had this, and she this. Let's say the Shia story on Aisha is correct. It's an accurate one. Let's assume. You know who the blame comes on?
Who?
The Prophet. And Allah. Allah, was Aisha the wife of the Prophet until he died?
Yes.
She was. Yes. She was from the azwaj. You agree? So she was the mother of the believers. You're going against the Quran.
The reason as to why I'm not going against
the Quran is in your neck.
No,
the Quran is the forelock on your neck.
Look, this is the issue. Qatila bint Qais.
Who?
Qatila bint Qais.
Who is she?
She was the wife of the Prophet. She
She was divorced.
No,
she was divorced.
No.
She was not.
I dare anyone bring me a single authentic hadith that the Prophet divorced her. There's no.
Okay.
It's not aqwal. It's saying.
She said, may Allah. Yeah, and this was also done by Aisha. This was also done. Let me help you. This was also the doing of Aisha radiallahu anha. Aisha radiallahu anha told her to say this.
No, it wasn't her. This was at the very like. I know what you're referring to. There was basically.
Okay, let me help you.
I know what you're referring to. There's a bit confusing here because there was some woman that the Prophet married, and she said to him, when the Prophet comes to you, say, it's not her. It's another woman.
Someone else?
Yeah, someone else.
But that one Prophet divorced. She was sent home.
She was. Yeah, I know. This one he divorced, but there was Qatila.
My question is, the Quran says, النبي أولى بالمؤمنين
وأزواجه أي من بقيت على ذمته.
لا, that caveat, the Shias have to add this. No, because it's not in the Quran. أي بقية. What do you mean أي بقية?
No. أي بقيت على ذمته, which means that she remains a wife.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because Qatila, she by the way, when the Prophet died.
I'm asking you, when the Prophet died, where did he die?
Died in the house of Hassan, died in the lap of Ali ibn Abi Talib.
In the house of Aisha?
No,
what was Ali doing there?
Where's
the Prophet buried? Archaeologically, brother, you are wrong. Archaeologically, forget about our Sunnah and Hadith and the Quran. A'udhu billah. Okay, archaeology will tell you, you don't know what you're talking about.
This hujr the Prophet was buried in is actually called Hujratul Nabi. This was as a
yes, good. Hujratul Nabi.
Yeah, this was
also called Hujratul Aisha.
No.
It's in Bukhari, brother.
I know, but
وأشار إلى حجرة عائشة. وأشار إلى حجرة عائشة.
I know.
وقال الفتنة ها هنا. الفتنة ها هنا. I'm helping you. Look. Where you gonna find a brother like me? Shake my hand. Yeah. The Prophet pointed towards the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, and he said, "Al-fitnatu ha huna." Al-fitnatu ha huna. That mischief is there.
Yeah.
And the Shias love this with us. Oh, Allahu Akbar. Amazing. This look, the Prophet. But when you go to Sahih Muslim, when you go to other books, it clarifies what it means. Because the house of Aisha was towards the east.
Was it not a lie?
There was
the hadith I quoted in Sahih Muslim when she was breathing out loud and he didn't respond.
No, it's a lie. No, our reading of the hadith is the Aisha radiallahu anha, out of her love, she went after the Prophet because she loved him so much. She could not share him with anyone. She could not possibly share him with anyone. So she thought maybe the Prophet is going to another wife. There's nothing wrong with that. As a woman, she has emotions.
Why didn't the Prophet appreciate this extreme love that he basically felt having her?
No man.
By the way, I don't believe the hadith is authentic, but I don't believe that the Prophet.
Same Muslim?
No, I mean it's sahih to you, of course. But
why would you? Okay, tell me why is it not authentic?
Well, because I don't believe that the Prophet was a one who hit women.
He didn't hit her.
Well,
that's the problem.
Okay,
you're reading.
No, fair enough. Okay, wait. Fair enough.
He did not hit her.
I don't believe that the Prophet.
No, that's out. That's out.
Okay.
Do you know believe it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you accept it.
No, I don't.
No, because hitting is out.
Let me change my phraseology.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that the Prophet was someone who would physically inflict pain on women. Is that better?
Okay, that's good. That's good.